Awesome. All right, here we go, guys. It is Wednesday. I don't know, January something. I never know the date. What is the date? January 11th. It is January 11th. You guys will learn. Even my students would be like, Coach, you never know what day or time or anything it is. And I was like, yeah, I just live 1 second at a time, right? With no plan. No, that's a joke. I have a plan. You're not following some guy that's just swinging, right? Hey, so it is Wednesday. I'm happy to be here. We've had some different conversations over my time in network marketing on how do you have a conversation to bring people from the point of, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? I don't even know why you're talking to me, or I asked you some questions and I don't know how to send it that way, right? How to get them from there, and then how to get them to the point where they're like, man, thanks for sharing with me. I appreciate that. Yeah. Where's your link? I want to buy. I want to go that route. And so we're going to go through just kind of the process. I don't know if we're going to give you, hey, this is the exact way, because I think every single talk that we have, every single conversation that we have with people is different, right? And so where I'm going to start at, while Stephen's gassing up, what I believe is the most important thing is when we have conversations, I need you to listen. Listen, not hear. There are two different things here. Hearing people is hearing what they say with in mind, either I don't care or I've got something to say and I'm going to say it back, right? Listening means, hey, when you're talking, I am hearing you, but I'm also taking in everything you say because it matters to me. And then before I respond, I'm going to make sure I put some thought into it and go that way. Now, some of my conversations, my wife goes, sometimes you're a weird conversation. You ever have the guy that has the awkward pause, like there's just silence and you're like, oh, this is weird. Like I am that guy at times, because there's times I really want to make sure what I say, I've put some thought into, and it's not like I'm just speaking to speak, right? And so if you're having conversations with people and you're like, I don't know what they want, I'm going to have you check yourself and go, wait, am I truly listening to them? Because everyone is telling you what they want all the time, right? In this conversation that we're having right now, what I'm telling you what I want is, hey, I want your attention. And I really want you to put some thought into what we're saying, right? I didn't have to say that, but my words and my actions take me there. If you get really good at paying attention to body language, right? And I think he's still gassing up. So one of the trainings that I did on teaching my students, okay, was on body language. When we taught our students and we had conversations with our students, we paid attention to their face. We paid attention to their eyes, paid attention to them smiling, paid attention to them. Do they back up when you get close? Or when they sit down, do they turn their back to you, right? And point it in a different direction. When you're having a conversation with people, their body language says a lot. Okay. And I'm always watching body language. I'm watching for smiles. I love the fact that majority of the Europe team, you actually show your faces on the Zooms, right? I understand there's people, I'm catching people at work in the United States, so they can't, I get it. But one of my things is I love seeing people when we have a conversation, because it tells me a lot of, hey, if I got a lot of people doing this or they're distracted and doing things, their body language tells me, hey, what you're saying is either one, not resonating, or two, they didn't make sense, right? So I watch body language in everything I do. You have the biggest tank in the world, Stephen, if you are still gassing up. What is that, like an 85-gallon tank? Oh my gosh.
No, it's not that big.
It's not that big. It's not a tanker truck.
I used to have a 45-gallon tank on my Ford Excursion back when diesel was $5 a gallon. That was painful.
Yeah.
That was very painful.
I bet. Sorry, I digress, guys. I'm sometimes like a dog chasing a squirrel, like squirrel, here I go. But I pay attention to what people are looking at, what people are acting like, how they represent their bodies. Listen, if I have a conversation with someone and they are down, their face turns, and what they say has no hope behind it, has no passion behind it, I know that I'm going to have to dig in a little bit deeper and create a connection and figure out what's going on with people before I ever send people down a road of this. And those questions that I ask inside the conversation, I can ask very specific questions that guide people to eventually go, what do you do? Right? Hey, how are you feeling? It's one of my favorite questions I ask. I ask everyone, hey, how you feeling? How you doing? Right? Those two questions give people a chance to talk about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. So any question that you have that gives people to tell you about who they are, what they're doing, where they're going, that is huge, right? So Stephen, while you were gassing up, I just kind of talked a little bit about the importance of listening. People are always telling us what they want, but we want to really dive into taking people from, hey, they've asked us, hey, what do you do? Or you've met them out in the grocery store, you see them out and about and you're talking, and moving them to a point where they go, hey, what do you do? Or thank you so much for sharing that link. Oh, he hopped off. There we go. Here he is back. Where's he at? There we go.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
I do hear you now.
Perfect. Let me just go. All righty.
Are you ready?
I'm good to go. We're driving, but we can chat.
No, we can definitely chat. Okay, Stephen, you are really good at this, getting people. There's almost times where I've watched you have a talk with people and they're just so grateful that you even shared information with them. Like you took the time to talk to them, like they walk away going, crap, that was the best talk I've ever had, right? Can we talk about how we have conversations as entrepreneurs? We have talked about Vitify, right? Moving people to a point where they like that. Like, hey, thanks for sharing that info with me. I'm ready to buy. Or, hey, I am so ready to join your team. Let's go. I'm ready to do this. I want to have that conversation with you.
Well, let me start by saying this. I want to give everyone a resource. Years ago, I was talking to a guy who's making $100,000 a month from network marketing, and he said, hey, you should buy this book called How to Get People to Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. I'm like, okay, it's like, it's good to take advice from people making that kind of money from their people skills on what book to buy to learn your people skills, right? And it was, it's actually a super interesting book. It's, the book is by a guy who was a fashion photographer. And you might wonder, why would a fashion photographer be such an expert at this? So let me explain it. To get really good pictures from people, they've got to trust you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They've got to be super comfortable around you. And hey, time is money. You don't have freaking all day. Like, we got to get this done fast. Does that make sense? So he, anyways, excellent book. Not very long, but he's got some great information in it. So first thing I will say is this, is that I am not most of my life I was quite shy, wasn't outgoing, and I'm not not naturally a people person, okay? So I want to preference that. And so also over the years, when I started doing network marketing, I didn't have a lot, like today I can just post something on Facebook and people I don't really know very well will be like, I want to buy it. I'm like, cool, like life is easy. But most of my network marketing career, I didn't have a lot of contacts, and I could only build my business by going out and meeting people and talking to them. Does that make sense? And often I would find if my business was stagnant, it was because I was at home trying to force myself to pick up the phone and do some sort of uncomfortable process of recruiting. And I'd be like, you know what, we just got to leave the house and go out and go do life and interact with people, right? So the first thing I would say is people are more likely to say yes if they're super comfortable in saying no. Let me repeat that. People are much more likely to say yes if they're very comfortable in saying no. Okay. Number two, make sure you engage people in their favorite topic. Anyone want to guess what people's favorite topic is? Themselves. Right? Oh my gosh, no. That's what people themselves. I think there was a study done where they put people on planes next to somebody, okay, and the one person who was actually knew they were in the study, they had a task of asking the person they sat next to a whole bunch of questions about themselves, which would elicit more information. Does that make sense? To draw out more information from this person. And afterwards, they would interview the person who didn't know that they were part of the experiment, right? And they would ask them about their experience on the plane. And they'd be like, oh my goodness, it was the most enjoyable conversation ever, right? And yet they didn't know anything about the person sitting next to them. They just remembered it was super enjoyable. Why? Because the person really cared and people generally interested in who they were. Everyone follow me so far, right? So, number one, I am a genuinely curious person. Does that make sense? So that was super important. Is like I'm really curious about people, like what makes them tick, how do they make money, how do they work out, how do they like it, where are you from? I'm always very curious, right? So if I meet someone, or even if it's someone I know, the more questions you ask them about themselves, okay, express genuine interest in who they are, where they're from. Often it's very helpful to, I've lived a lot of places. So when I ask someone where they're from, it's likely I've been there or somewhere nearby, and we have quite a connection. Does that make sense? I will tell you a kind of a perverse use of this is Wilt Chamberlain, who is very famous for how many women he had in his life. But his main technique was he would ask them where they're from, and then he would say he was from somewhere, some obscure place close by because he had traveled so much, and would make a point of connection. So what I'm talking about is not to use it in a way to control and manipulate people, but in a way to make genuine connection and show people you're interested, okay? Then as part of it, I'm always curious about business and what people do for a living, okay? And so I'll ask people, so what do you do for work? Like, how long have you been doing it? How do you like it? Does that make sense? Now, at that point, if this person is someone who is also fairly outgoing, or at least has some sort of personality, they will often ask you, they will go, oh yeah, well, interesting. So what do you do, Steve, right? And that's really the question I'm waiting for, or trying to elicit from them, right? Because then they're starting the conversation about my business instead of me starting the conversation about my business. Everyone follow me so far? Ryan, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I love it. It's good.
Okay. So at that point, one of your absolute foundational number one skill sets to have is to be able to answer that question in a succinct and compelling manner that causes them to ask for more information from you. You follow me so far? Here's the thing. Don't use a fire hose, okay? When people use fire hoses, it's for crowd dispersal, to end riots, all right? Use a nice watering can, a little bit of information at a time, okay? I'll give you an interesting example of this. My mother, she was actually very good at recruiting people into a network marketing business, okay? This one time, she walks into a carpet store in Carbondale, Colorado, okay? And she strikes up a conversation with the woman who owns the place. And she asks her, she goes, hey, does the toxicity from the carpet ever bother you? And the woman's like, yes, causes me actually significant problems. She goes, I've gained 70 pounds. My mom goes, oh my goodness. My mom goes, have you ever heard of glyconutrients, which was a type of nutritional supplement she was selling? The woman goes, no. My mom goes, have you ever heard of a company called Manatech? The woman goes, no. My mom goes, oh my, we should talk sometime. The woman goes, is it a network marketing company? My mother goes, yes. How do you feel about that? The woman's like, well, I'm looking for an opportunity. Now, at that point, 90% of you would have made verbal diarrhea all over the woman, okay? That's disgusting. Don't do that. My mom goes, huh? You should come over for dinner sometime. We'll chat about it. Woman's like, okay, sounds good. The woman comes over for dinner. They have a long, nice conversation about anything but Manatech the entire dinner. At the end of the dinner, the woman's finally like, she's like, tell me, for the love of God, tell me about this thing, right? That woman ended up putting 700 people in my business.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? 700 people in my business. Okay. So it's like, Ryan's like, hey, Steve, what do you do? I go, well, Ryan, are you into supplements at all? Do you ever take any supplements? Ryan's like, sure. I go, well, have you ever heard of turmeric or curcumin? He's like, yeah, I've heard about it. Or, well, I take it all the time. I go, oh, interesting. Well, I happen to find a product that has a unique patented German delivery system that solves the #1 problem in the supplement industry, which is absorption. And it makes this product 18,000% more bioavailable than anything else on the market. And by the way, people spend $5 billion a year on turmeric. Anyways, enough about me. Tell me more about your job, Ryan. How long have you been doing that?
Guys, I hope you're paying attention.
Ryan's like,
good.
whoa, 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 whoa. Tell me more about this product. I might be like, huh, Ryan, do you want to see a freaky picture? Ryan's like, okay. I take out my phone. Maybe I show a picture of Ryan of before and after people's feet and the stunning reduction in inflammation they've had. Ryan's like, holy crap, is that real? I go, yeah, it's real. I have like 8,000 people in a Facebook testimonial group. All sorts of results like this. He's like, oh my God. How do I get more information? Do you have a business card? Here's one thing. Hey, you're in business, you should have a business card. I do not, under any circumstance, will I ever give someone a business card. No way. I won't say, the only reason I would give someone a business card is to obligate them to give me their information. That's the only thing it's good for, right? If I give you my business card and I ask you for information, it will be over the top rude of you to go, screw you, I'm not giving you my information. I'm like, what do you mean just give you my cell phone number? Well, what's up with you? Does that make sense? So Ryan's like, how do I get more information? I'm like, I'll pull out my phone, I'll open up the contacts, I'll look at my phone, I'll go, give me your cell phone number and I'll text you. Now, I'm not gonna look at Ryan when I do this. I'm just gonna stare at my phone until he gives me his cell phone number, which he will do, right? Cool. So I'm like, okay, Ryan, I'm just gonna text you my name so you can put it in contacts. Then what I will have on my phone is I will have a contact on my phone. For example, Vidify Information is the name of the contact. And in my phone, in my contacts, in the notes section, I will have out a bunch of information I typically send to people. I'll press and hold it, it will copy that information, and I'll paste it into the text I just sent Ryan. Boom, done. Right? The other thing I might ask Ryan is I might go, hey, what is it about what I just told you that interested you? Right? Because I want to know, I don't want to give him information that he doesn't give a crap about. I want to know what he's actually interested in. Maybe he's like, man, it sounds like a phenomenal business opportunity. I'm like, okay, good to know. Or he might be like, man, my knees are killing me. I'm like, hey man, are you on Facebook? Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Hey, let me add you. And then I'm going to put you in the group and I'm going to tag you in some stories about knees. Ryan's like, okay. Right? See, now I've been able to target it. Right? I might, or I will tell you this, I don't do a very good job at follow-up, okay? It would be better for my business if I was much better at following up and initially only sent Ryan a little bit of information initially. Does that make sense? The amount of information I typically send people is too much, but I know I'm not going to follow up with him. All right, it's just being honest here. Does that make sense? When you send too much information, Ryan's going to look at it and he's going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe on Friday evening, I'll have time to look through this. See what I mean? Like by Friday evening, Ryan will forget about it. Much better if I say, hey, Ryan, look, I'm going to send you a 5-minute video about this. Do you think you could watch that this afternoon? Much different. Does that make sense? Ryan's like, yeah, sure, cool. I want him to get at least a little bit interested. And so he'll, if he's super interested, he will take the time to look through everything I just sent him. But I've got to capture his attention first. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I may be like, hey, I'll send you a 5-minute video and do you think you watch this afternoon? Sure, cool. I'll tell you what, I'll follow up with you later this afternoon and see if you have any questions. Follow me so far? Now, here's the other thing you have to know. My follow-up conversation with Ryan is not actually to see what he thought about the video. Phone conversation with him is to re-engage him on watching that video. Okay, just start to get him a little bit more in there. Does that make sense? And like Ryan, I think you guys do such an awesome job of it. It's like invite, add, and tag, or whatever. Those 3 things. Invite, add, tag. Is that it? Yep.
Message,
Anyway,
add, tag. Yep.
So if you do this process properly, the person should thank you for taking time out of your busy day and sending them information that they requested, their idea.
Right. I think he's cutting out.
Instead of
Steve's cutting out pretty bad.
Asking you to, we're maybe at some party. I'm like, hey Ryan, let me ask you, do you keep your income options open? Oh my God, I'm about to get recruited into a network marketing company. Like,
Right.
Of course I do. Cool. But I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not interested in your business. Right? That's going to be uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Right? I had a guy who sent me information about a travel company. He's like, hey man, I can follow up with you, see what about it interested you. And I messaged him. He's a friend of mine. I go, yeah, it didn't really interest me. And he's like, what about it didn't interest you? And I'm like, what do you mean, what about it didn't interest me? It didn't interest me, period. It's over. Does that make sense? Like, don't do some weird conversation about this, okay, man? You know, so is that helpful for people?
Yeah, I love it. I really do. I like it. I like it a lot. I think you said a lot of key things here. So number one, you want to make sure that you can give them an opportunity to talk about themselves, right? So I put down, he had a couple things that he said. People are more likely to say yes if they are comfortable to say no, right? I think that's huge. If they feel comfortable enough in the conversation with you that they could say no, and guess what? It's okay. Like no, sometimes I've told people no, and it's like I shot their dog. It's like, it was the worstest thing I could ever say to them, right? I insulted them completely. But if they feel comfortable with you to say no, then they're more likely to say yes. The second thing that I put in the notes was engage people in a topic they love to talk about. It's their self, right? And I said that earlier, people love to talk about themselves. And how do you do that? And he had a lot of questions. Hey, what do you do? Hey, how are you feeling? Just anything. Hey, how are the kids? Do you have kids? Anything that gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves, right? And then that leads them, there's a couple people out there, if they're just going to talk about themselves the whole time and they're never going to ask about you. I get it. There are those people,
Hey,
right?
let me interrupt you at that point. If that happens, what I'm going to do in the conversation, I'm going to mention that I have my own business.
Okay.
All right. I have my own business. And I'm like, and don't be rude. You should ask me what it is. Right. If they don't ask me what it is, it's like, okay, forget about it then. We're done here.
Right.
That makes sense. Right.
Right. Hey, and that's a good point too, guys. Don't get caught up on trying to persuade people or get people to go your direction. Listen, the conversation, they're telling you everything they want, and if all they want to talk about is you, or it's not going that route. Don't try to persuade people. I do not get in the business of persuading people that what I know or where I'm going is right. Listen, I want people that want to join, want to go that direction. Okay.
Yeah.
So he leaves them at a point where they ask, what do you do? You've got to be able to have a really quick way of just saying what you do. For a long time, I really didn't want to tell people I was in network marketing, right? And so I found different ways to say it. Hey, I build markets. I stole that from Juan. I like it. It gets people to ask the question again, well, what's that mean, right? And that gives me an opportunity. But what I was really bad about, Stephen brought up, is just vomiting on everybody. Once they said, oh, well, what is that? I don't understand. And then I would just go, listen, can't do that. You got to practice answering that question. What do you do? Right?
Yeah.
You've got to do, and then you've got to practice answering the question, well, what is that? Or the follow-up question. I would practice those. Practice it, where it just comes natural, where you can get it out. We always talk about elevator conversations, 30 seconds. I don't know anybody that's in an elevator a minute, but under a minute, right? Get it out,
Yeah.
be able to give a very clear and concise what you do that leaves people wanting more.
Yeah. I want to give you an example. This is super, super, super important. And the majority, and I will emphasize, the majority of people in network marketing who are building a business suck at it. I'm like, the majority suck at it. And I'll give you an example. Years ago, I'm on this cruise that I won as an incentive through a network marketing company. And one woman who's very successful in the business, very sharp businesswoman, her husband didn't like travel, so she had brought her niece and nephew with her. Okay. And everyone who had won the trip had a blue windbreaker, right? So half the boat is full of people in blue windbreakers, right? They're all Manatech people. Okay. She told her niece and nephew, she goes, here's the deal. She goes, I want each of you to talk to 20 of these people. And in conversation, I want you to ask them, what is this business you're doing? Okay. That's your assignment. Go. They came back and they go, no, that was an unmitigated disaster. Nobody had a decent, coherent answer that wasn't like verbal diarrhea. Not a single person, period. Right. So a lot of you on this, you aren't very good at this short, concise conversation. And 6 months from now, most of you still aren't going to be very good at it because you didn't actually practice it. Right. There you go. I want to have a brief example of a different type of conversation too. This conversation we just had was with someone asking you information and you have them in a social setting. Okay. One of the big problems that people have, everyone knows confident people they would like to be in business with, but they don't have the skill set or understanding of how to actually pick up the phone and directly call them and have a conversation about it that's not going to be weird for one or both parties. Okay. So I want to give you an example of exactly how you would do that. Okay. So for example, maybe, look, I know Ryan. I really like Ryan. He's super confident dude. Man, I would love to have him on my team. Haven't talked at all to him in 2 or 3 years. Does that make sense? But if I saw Ryan, I'd be like, hey, man, we'd be like old times. Oh, man, so awesome to see you. Why we like each other. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But we don't live near each other. We don't work together. There's no reason to contact each other. Okay. So, pick
Cutting out, Steven. Steven, you're cutting out.
Yeah.
Not hearing him much. It's not just me, right, guys? Is everyone else like he's cutting out? Okay.
It's really bad.
Testing.
He's still going though. He is on a roll, guys. Let me text you.
Testing.
Oh, I'm hearing a little bit more. A little bit more.
Testing.
There you are.
You're always
Am I
testing.
here? Back?
Steven,
Good?
you're always testing.
You're back.
All sorts of things.
Can you hear me now, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Everybody. Okay. So I'm gonna call Ryan up. I'm calling him because I have a script that I'm comfortable with, so I'm not scared to do this. Okay. I'm like, ring. Ryan, you there? Answer the phone, Ryan.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Ryan. Hey, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Hey, Ryan. Real quick. Look, dude. Haven't talked to you in forever. I would love to catch up with you, but to be honest, I'm calling for a specific reason. Do you have a minute? Ryan's
Yeah,
like,
I've got a minute.
sure. Like, if I have idle conversation instead of getting right to the point during my idle conversation, Ryan's wondering, why is he actually calling me? Right? It's like, why is he calling me? Right? Anyways, I'm like, hey, Ryan, look, recently I started a new business, right? That I'm very excited about. But one of the things I'm most excited about with this business is I get to choose who I go into business with, right? You ever notice, like, you have a job or something and you work with the people and you hope you like them and sometimes you don't, but man, you're doing half your life with these people you're working with, right? And it's not very fun sometimes. Well, in this situation, I get to choose who I go into business with. And when I thought of who I would love to go into business with, man, I thought about you. Man, you are such a phenomenal coach. You're so positive. You have just these amazing leadership skills. And you got this, man, I really respect your integrity in life that I've seen. And look, I have no idea if what I'm doing right now would be a good fit for you or if you would have any interest in it. But man, I thought you might at least like to check it out.
Hey, you know what?
Right?
Yeah. Why don't you send me some info? Like, he took time to what is the word I'm looking for? Edify me, right?
Yeah.
Made me feel good about who I was. And kind of stroked my ego a little bit, especially if they've got an ego, and you know those that have the ego, right? Left me going, okay, I'll play the game for a little bit. At the very least, I'm going to play the game, right? Because
Sure.
I feel good about myself.
Well, here's the deal, Ryan. It's a new technology. It's a supplement that solves the number one problem in the supplement industry with a patented technology from Germany. And look, I don't want to screw up the explanation. I'm going to send you a super short video. But here's the real important thing. Before I send the video, I want to make one thing really, really, really clear, right? Ryan, our relationship is way more important than any product or any business, okay? So before I send this to you, I want you to understand this. And if when you look at this, if you're not interested in it, if you could do me the massive favor and tell me as quickly as possible, all right, it would save me a whole lot of time. And I don't ever want you to see my name on caller ID and go, oh my God, what does he want now? Okay. Are we clear on that?
Right. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm going to send you this short video. It's like 5 minutes long. Do you think you can watch it this afternoon?
Sure.
Sure. Awesome. Well, I'm going to call you back later this afternoon and just see what you think about it. And if you don't like it, man, even that, I would love just a honest feedback on it. But anyways, maybe we'll catch up a little later. Miss you, man.
Hey, I will do. Can't wait. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Now, here's the thing. If Ryan ends up telling me no, he might also add this. Hey, man, it's not a good fit for me right now, but thank you so much for the phone call.
Right.
Now, if he tells me it's not a good fit, but thank you for the phone call, I enjoyed the experience. Does that make sense? I think I'll pick up the phone and call the next person. See, instead of, ow, someone shot me down hard. Damn, that sucked. Okay, I'm gonna do the next uncomfortable thing again.
Hey, can I point out another thing that's really good? Guys, I am always big on telling people exactly what I'm going to do. So, hey, I'm going to check in on you. I'm going to call you back. I'm going to do this. So when I call back, they're expecting it, right? It's not Ryan calls out of the blue, Ryan messages out of the blue. Oh, he's trying to sell me something. Hey, I want you to look at this video. Tell me what you think. I'll get with you, and hey, tomorrow morning, I'll give you a holler and see what you think, right? They're expecting it. So when I do follow up, it's not something that they're like, this guy, right? It's expected. Okay, Ryan said he was going to call back. He followed through. I think that's huge. And I think it's huge also, we've talked about in person, we've talked about on the phone. I think it's huge in Messenger. When I send people messages in Messenger, you know, like, hey, once you check this out, tell me what you think. I would love just your opinion. I'm going to get back with you. If I don't hear from you by the end of the night, I'll hit you up in the morning, right? I leave people going, oh, he said he was going to call me back, so I'm expecting it. I'm expecting at least to talk to me, right?
So if I call back and I get his voicemail, I might text him with, hey, just touching base with you, and text you with a short, concise testimonial you can read. Or before and after picture. That makes sense? I got to start dripping on him. He told me he was interested. I'm going to tease him with crazy testimonial results.
Right. Right.
Or I might occasionally also in the middle of that go, hey, man, just let me know if you want me to stop touching base with you. I don't want to hassle you. Here's the thing. A lot of you people don't follow up with people because you're like, well, if they were interested, they would call me. No. They're waiting for you to, they're like, oh man, I want to order that. I'm not sure how.
Right.
They're waiting for you to call them. And they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for calling me. Yeah, I want to order it. What do I do? Or, oh, I tried and I got confused on the website. I've got some questions. Well, why didn't they just call you or ask you? Well, because people are lazy and busy, right?
Right.
It's like, you've got to always interpret everything in your favor. Why didn't they call me? Because they're waiting for me to call them again. That's why. Are they interested? Well, of course they're interested. Like, why would they not be interested? That's crazy, you know?
Right. I love, you know, they say the fortunes of the follow-up, but listen, it's the last study I looked at, it's between 7 to 11 contacts, right? 7 to 11 seen an ad or follow up. So it takes that many, right? So you're going to have to follow up, right? And let me just give you another thing. This is something that I use a lot whenever we have a promo go out or something like that. I've had a conversation with someone. We've talked. It was a not now. They weren't really interested at that point, right? And then we have a promo 30 days, 60 days later, come back, and maybe I've talked to them one time since then. And I've reached back out to them and I start this is what I say, and this has helped me more than anything. Hey, it doesn't matter whether you want to buy or not, or whether you're interested or not. That doesn't matter to me. I just wanted to let you know we were having a promo or we were having a sell on this just because I didn't want you to miss out. I hope everything is good. Talk to you later or go. I always set it up to where, once again, they're comfortable in saying no. Hey, Ryan, no, I'm still not interested. Or, hey, thanks for sharing that with me. I appreciate that, right? I always set it up to where people feel good. They're like, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter with Ryan. Ryan could care less what we do. He's still the same guy, and our relationship doesn't change. And so, hey, it's okay if you say no right now. It doesn't matter to me either way, but I just wanted you to have this information, right?
Absolutely.
So,
it's like you have to be very clear on why am I contacting Ryan? Am I contacting Ryan for my benefit or because I like him and I think it's going to be a benefit to him? Right. You could say the same words, but the energy is 100% different. Right? Man, I got to call all the people I actually care about as fast as possible. Why? I got to tell them about it. And then I'm guilt free. Does that make sense? You know, it's like, why 5 years from now, your buddy, someone else tells him about it, and you're like, oh yeah, I've been selling that for 5 years. He's like, like this product has changed my life in 2 weeks. Why did you not tell me about it 5 years ago? What's up with you? Right?
It's good.
This is actually how Alex
Years ago,
joined, who is also in here. This is exactly what I did. Right, so Alex? And he didn't like me contacting him, but now he's very happy. Right, Alex?
yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Here's what you
Yeah, that's for sure.
here's the
I
way you
want
put
to
it.
keep I want to keep everything in my own hand, and we know each other very well, Ulrike and me. But sometimes I said, "Oh fuck, it's well, something new, and will it help me? Think I have benefit from it? I have MS, multiple sclerosis, and I have a lot of nerve pain in my body. And sometimes when I doing my job as a security member, we're making long times, and then it hits me. Sometimes I'm laying in my bed for 2 days, and then I am taking some stuff to smoke to reduce the pain, because there is nothing in the Netherlands that reduce the pain. Sometimes I take a pill for a backache. You know, it's a heavy stuff, but it does not work. I'm not sorry to say, only marijuana will help, but still Ulrike give me the stuff, and it reduced the pain level. That's quite interesting.
That's awesome.
That's
Awesome.
yeah, that's beautiful. And what we are talking about also, Stephen Keller, it's to know, to like, to trust, to buy, to repeat, and not in a way that we have to sell, not to give people like your friends or members, family members. There's the salesman again. No, it's to help each other and to help benefit from it. Because when Ulrike is happy and no pain, then I'm happy to give her the solution to get more out of her life.
Right.
And I don't have to want to have a bonus for it, because I know her, and it flows back to the ocean in any way. But that's my opinion. Good sharing, good friends, it's good. It's good for everybody.
I love it. It's good. We're sharing, right? We're in the sharing.
Yeah,
business.
we're sharing. And what we had heard you about, what's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan, yeah. It's social sharing, huh? It's not network marketing, has a bad reputation.
Right.
I know it from Amway and early days, but still, people, it's social sharing. It's how I feel about each other. It's a human thing. It's a person thing. It's a connecting of blocks. When I do that, I think we are a strong team. Thank you for listening to my, yeah.
No, thank you for sharing.
So I want to, he brings up an excellent point, and I want to give you some insight. One of the things that we have with our product is it works very well on a lot of different clinical conditions, okay? The danger of that is that you'll want to have a conversation with people about their clinical condition, okay? Here's an insight I'll give you. What's his name? Alex, who just talked?
Yes.
So this is gonna sound weird, but follow me. Alex does not care that he has MS. Okay? Stick with me. Alex cares that he's not sleeping well, that he doesn't have energy, that he doesn't have mental clarity, and he has physical pain in his body. You follow me? That's what he cares about. So if I find out someone has MS, I'm not going to have a conversation with them about MS, because that's a clinical conversation, and people expect a clinical conversation with a medical professional.
Right.
If I have a clinical conversation with them, even if it's accurate, it just is too weird, right?
Right.
However, I might tell Alex, hey man, that sucks. You know, a friend of mine recently turned me onto a product that, man, it's helped me so much. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I've got better sleep, less physical pain. I feel less depressed. It's incredible. Maybe it'll help you feel better. I was like, oh, absolutely. Well, I'm interested. See? Very
And don't
different
believe me,
conversation.
and don't believe me on my blue eyes, but still, you have to try it. Just try. Give yourself the opportunity to create yourself a better life.
Right.
It's not a main thing. It's your typically it's your birthright, but we are forgetting our birthright to be happy, to get more money, to get in a good position. And when we in life taking granted that we are less beings, that's so. I'm taking what is rightfully mine. That is health. That is a good money to support my wife and my 4 kids. That's and when I am happy, I can share it with Ulrike, and I can share it with everybody who wants to have one piece of the pie. That's
so. Here's a way to put it. If I live in the desert and I find water and I don't tell everyone about it, I'm guilty of the sin of the desert, which is you don't tell everyone where the water is. Right?
Right.
And so with Vitify, hey, we have a phenomenal product for people's health, a phenomenal business opportunity. Don't be guilty of the sin of the desert. Tell people. You can't drag them to the water. That's not your job. It's like, that's their job. But at
Right.
least let them know, because that's the compassionate thing you want to do, right?
Right. No, it's good. It's good, guys. I appreciate everyone for sharing. And listen, it's the same thing for you make a post, you pique someone's interest, hey, what is that? It's the same conversation, right? And the only other advice I'll give is have your conversations in Messenger, and I would give voice messages. I think people love, actually, I know people love, I love it. I love hearing people's energy. I love hearing it. If someone hops on and sends me a message, I read it in my voice, or I read it in the voice of the way it was written, whatever. And I'm like, whatever. But if someone sends me a message, I hear their excitement and their passion, it leaves me going I'm a lot more interested, going, hey, I wonder what that is. Or yeah, let's talk, right? I have people hit me up all the time. And the ones that at least send me a voice message, I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll listen to you. Let's have a conversation, right? So I would send those voice messages, and I would treat those conversations, hey, I made a post. Someone said, hey, I'm interested. Let me send you some info. Treat it the same way as you met them in person. You're right there talking to each other. It's all the same, right? So I hope this helped people. I hope we didn't waste your time. I know I got something out of it. Took a lot of notes. I got a half page of notes. Yeah, thank you, Stephen, for hopping on. Thank you guys for hopping on. I appreciate it. So
Thank you
we
too.
will.
Thank you. It's definitely not a waste of time. It's an honor to have all this info.
Good. And I would hope that you guys would let us know, or if it's not what you needed, let us know. Or if you need something else, hit us up. Or if you've got something that you've done, because I am not the social media guru. She's in the other room, right? But I've watched her. I see her do everything. And so I just share what she does. She's a lot more consistent than me, right? But if you have something you've done really well and you're like, hey, I'd love to talk about it, or I'd love to train on it, or I could teach this, let us know, and let's set up a time and let's run with it.
And for me, I like to share everybody. I like to share my view, and if I can be from some little assistance, I will gladly share with you guys. It's no problem for me.
Awesome.
A lot of love from Holland.
Can we maybe do a training once on storytelling, Ryan? That the
Yeah.
people can maybe with breakout rooms. I don't know if that's an idea, just storytelling so that people can share their story in a very short way, like the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
How about that? Is that a good idea, Stephen, also?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't need to do a training on it, more like a workshop, right?
Yeah.
I'm always amazed, like you can do an hour-long training and go, okay, go and do it. But if you ask them, hey, repeat back to me what I just said, they'll just stare at you. It's like, so people often leave trainings without having practiced it. And unfortunately, a very small percentage of people then have the skill set. They heard everything, but they're not confident enough to implement it yet.
That's why I say use breakout rooms, but I don't see the option over here, Ryan. My Zoom has breakout rooms.
It's a business account. It should have something. I'll play with it
Maybe
and see what it has. I mean, we can do it right here. I think it's good to record it and see each and every person right.
And
You know, right here as a group is also good too. Yeah, let's set it up. We'll get it set up. We'll get together and we'll set it up. Yeah, I'll see another hand went up.
I think you have to choose breakout rooms when you set up the link.
Okay, gotcha. Well, then I'll hop on my account and dig it up. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask Stephen for a clarification on something, because I heard him use a line which I'd heard before, which is, do you keep your income options open? Stephen, were you suggesting to use it or not use it? Because you broke up.
Not use it.
Not use it. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, I caught the end of it where you were saying.
That might work for some people, but if you said that to me, I'm automatically like, oh my God, he's trying to recruit me into his network marketing business and doing it with low skill set. This is going to be painful.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you, here's an example. Like, like I have people hit me up all the time on Facebook, right? They want to recruit me into stuff all the time, right? I'm always curious. People go, hey, they start telling me about something. I'm like, cool. Send me a 5-minute round of video, right? If they can't do that, automatically I wouldn't be interested, because what kind of business do you have where you can't just share a 5-minute video about it, right?
Right.
So I had a woman, I'm like, cool. I go, send me a 5-minute video. She's like, well, it's not really how I operate. We really need to connect over Zoom, it'll be about 40 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Number one, I don't even know you that much. The arrogance that you think for your benefit, you can ask me for 40 minutes of my time? Really? I go, I don't have time for that. She's like, when do you think you would have time? I'm like, maybe in 2 months. And that was serious. I'm a very busy dude. She kind of made fun of me for that, right? I promptly unfriended her. Right? Then she figured out I unfriended her, and then she got all sort of offended. I'm like, oh my God, like then I had to block her.
Right.
And I think we should not only focus on people who are sick, because that's a conversation which I had with Alex. Focus on the people who want to build a business, especially in Europe, because we are now looking for entrepreneurs, and the customers will come as soon as we're open in Europe.
Right. Right.
100%. If you are talking mostly to 6 people because you want to help a lot of people,
You're breaking, Stephen. You're breaking.
Again.
it's a more even compassionate and ethical thing to do, because your reach will be your reach will be 10 times the amount. So.
Can you repeat that, because you dropped?
Sure. I said, if your purpose in talking to 6 people is because you're very compassionate and you want to help people, it's more compassionate of you to talk to people about the business because the end result will be helping 10 times the amount of people.
It's a good point of view. I like it.
I once saw a naturopathic doctor. He was lecturing to a lot of network marketers about a particular really effective supplement. And someone asked him, they go, how do I become a naturopathic doctor? And he said, don't become a distributor for this company. You'll help a lot more people.
Steven, in the Netherlands we have a call. It's sharing is caring. It's come from England, but it's still true. Sharing is caring.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
I'm not saying don't talk to sick people. I'm saying you can like talk to everybody. Talk to the healthy people about building a business, you know?
Right. It's good.
And here's the thing I will tell you. There are many, many, many chronically ill people who on the outside look perfectly healthy. And you don't know how much pain they're in. Right. So there's something to think about.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to reply to your question. I've found this very, very insightful and valuable. So thank you. Like, just want to acknowledge that.
Awesome.
Just because
Good.
you're looking for feedback, like definitely I've learned quite a lot. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching this one again because there's some things that I want to sink in more. So thank you.
Yep, I'll get it posted inside World Changers. I don't have the fastest internet in the world. It's pretty good, but it's not great. So within the next hour, it should be up. And then we'll get that there. I also made a post inside World Changers on some of you guys for stories. I've had some people say, I just can't find stuff to put out in my stories to grab attention. So there is a post. I'll create a guide and it'll just be called stories, memes, something like that. But I did the first post. I think there's 80 pictures. Don't use all 80 in the first couple days. Use one or two at a time, you know, and work through it. But there's that. I'm going to try to make World Changers as much of a one-stop shop as I can for you guys to find all your info. I don't want you to have to chase, oh, you got to be in this group to find this or that group to find that, whatever. I'm just trying to gather as much as possible. So you'll see more and more there and maybe some deleting of stuff or some reorganizing, but I'm working on it. So, all right, guys, I hope it was all good. We'll talk to you later.
Definitely.
Thank you. Bye.